Hello, very nice knowing you and thank you for watching this video. And I bet that you will love listening to it, every minute of it. All right? For those who don't know me, nice to know you. My name is Ha, and I live in a country in Southeast Asia called Vietnam, a beautiful country. And if you ever plan to go to Vietnam for a visit, please do not hesitate to connect with me. I would love to know you in person, and I would love to take you around town to show you how beautiful our country is and the people here, of course. In this video, I want to share with you my personal journey and what makes that journey so beautiful. And you can do it too. Okay? So I was born in Da Nang city, a small city in the middle of Vietnam. So we have beautiful beaches, we have beautiful mountains, and then we also have terrible storms during the storm season. And I grew up in a normal family, whereas my father and my mom were working in the factory. Their parents served in the military, but on the other side of the war, the side that lost the war. So right after the independence of Vietnam, they moved back into the village and lived there. All right? But despite all the challenges, my father and my mom always had big dreams in their life. Right? So my mom, by the time she got married to my father, and they had nothing, very little money, doing the job in the factory, and not a very high paying job, not a very high level job also. They were engineers back then actually. But then my mom already had a plan that one day she's gonna send her children to the US. Very specific country, the US, America, so that her children can have a good education, can explore to a good culture, and can have a good life. Okay, so that was her dream. And along the way, that dream came true. I went to the US in 2001 as an international student, and I learned the language, the culture. I got my education there, I got my higher education there. Then I moved back to Vietnam. I had a good job, good house, good everything back then. And I moved back to Vietnam. Starting back my professional career in the industry that I had no knowledge about. In a city that I had no friends, nobody that I know of that can help me. And no one in the family also knowing the industry, the human resource industry, to help me, to guide me, to support me. Nope, no one. And along the way, my wife also, right? So she was born in Ho Chi Minh City, so the big city in Vietnam, and her family side went through a lot of hassle process to get to the US. So every single member of the family went and lived in the States, different city, different states, but they lived there, 100% of them. So when we knew each other, her family didn't support for the idea that if she got married to a Vietnamese man, and she's Chinese Vietnamese also, for your information, if Back then, if a Chinese lady can only get married to a Chinese gentleman, not to Vietnamese or Japanese or whatever. All right, so and then her family is very traditional also. So getting to know each other was hard. Getting married to each other was another big thing that both of us gambled on. And we got married, we got children, we moved back to Vietnam. She went back to the city that she grew up, and nobody there. Have no relationship with any companies, anyone, know nothing about the industry. So we start fresh. What we left behind was a successful career in the States, a family, friends, and a lot of good stories, good memories to start something fresh again. All right? And this year marks our 12 years back to Vietnam. We had so many good friends now. We made our names in the market, and we did a lot of great things. We learned a lot. During the pandemic, my wife and I had a beautiful journey, and despite all challenging that we've been facing with in personal life and professional life, right? We decided that we will connect with amazing people around the world, share their stories so that whoever listened to our interviews with those amazing leaders, experts, consultants, specialists, right, will have something new for them to reflect on, to think, to learn, and to apply in their life. And we didn't know that journey led us to a very, very beautiful path that out of our imagination. We met a tech lady who was looking for an application, a platform that she can improve her learning, and she found nothing that really excites her. So she decided to build her own platform called Gnobi. She's a founder and CEO of that platform. And her ambition is to provide a platform for 1 billion people around the world, 1 billion people around the world to use and modernize their learning experiences. Amazing. I met a gentleman, his name is David Tressler. So he's the author of the book 10-Year Plan. And in 10 years, back years ago, he and his two other friends had their 10-year plan to make a business and sell them for 100 million US dollars. And they did it in 10 years. Amazing people. I met the world #1 coach, Marshall Goldsmith. He came to Vietnam. We had a chance to take him around our beautiful city, have breakfast together, and have a good time together. He signed his books, and he gave my wife his best friend's book as a gift also. We never thought of that. We met so many good people, like the son of the editor of Superman in the comic book back in the 1939, 1940. So his father was the editor for Superman, the comic books, okay? And we met lobbyists, we met a lot of scholars, we met the person that got knighted by the Queen in England and become Sir for 50 years servicing the psychology industry in England. We met so many good people. All right. And the story today is to share with you how did we do that. All right. So if we could do that, we believe that you could do that as well. And here's the beautiful thing. Imagine, we travel and we always have something planned ahead. Where we are going, where we're staying, who are we meeting. and what are we going to do over there at the destinations, all right? And that's a regular traveler we do. So we know it's for our safetyness, right? And it's also for our family to know where we are in case of emergency. They know, and for a lot of good reason why we have things planned in advance. So life is a lot more exciting when we do things out of the book, unplanned. All right? And I'll explain to you my journey going through the unplanned things and why is it beautiful, how you can get the courage to start the unplanned things. So my mom, as I mentioned earlier, she wanted to send her children to the US for education. We knew it. I knew it when I was in high school, and they wanted me to prepare for that plan. I didn't. So normal processes, you're supposed to study really good English, you start to look out for connections back then, make relationships and learn about the culture, get yourself ready mentally and physically to get there, right? I didn't. So I told my mom that I enjoy Vietnam and I would love to continue my education here until I finish my university. So I went to university, the Tech University, one of the top universities in Vietnam. Studied there for about a year and a half. Figured out that I didn't like to continue that path. So I went to the States. Zero English, very broken English instead. No knowledge about the country, no relationship with anyone there. Start fresh. I wasn't ready. So my first 2 years was a nightmare to me. Okay? And in that 2 years, we spent a lot of money at school. Of course, as an international student, you pay big money, all right, with very little results. So I tried to avoid learning English with the people that I'm supposed to be learning with, because I was afraid of talking and showing them my vulnerability. I was bad at communication, and you were in a country that English is a language that most people are talking everywhere, news, on the road, on TVs and everything. It's in English. I couldn't communicate. All right? It's 2 years. For 2 years, I was hiding in the dark. We paid the money for the school without any good results at all. Until one day, I said, enough is enough. I want to do something differently. So I picked up another city to travel. That was how I met my wife. All right. So I picked Seattle as my last resort to go. If I fail again for Seattle, then it's a final goodbye to America. Go back to Vietnam and retake my education in Vietnam, maybe. All right. So I went to Seattle, took another community college, study English as second language, student again. And I didn't do it well also. So I was ready to go back to Vietnam. And one night I met my wife in a small party that I created. And by luck, by whatever arrangement, she sat next to me, and the rest is history. So we dated, we went through the whole complex process of convincing people in the two families, despite the culture differences between the two families. We got married. It wasn't a very good one, only two of us and a good friend. We got married, nobody knows. It was unplanned. It was totally unplanned. And now we celebrate our 17 years being together with three beautiful children. All right? And go back to study, education. So my wife, she wanted to become a pharmacist. And the reason was simple. It's a stable job, high pay, good benefits. So it's a dream job for a lot of people. And she could become a very good pharmacist, dedicated one, trying to provide the best care for her clients, her patients. And she shared that idea with me. And I honor her idea, but I asked her this question. Imagine you're going to work for 30 to 40 years. So it's about half of your life. And in that half of your life, you're going to be working in a pharmacy, a small square office filled with drugs, medications, and would you like to do that? Would you like to continue doing that happily, energetically for 40 years? And so she decided to do something differently. So she decided to become an engineer, a chemical engineer, a good one. All right. And then she studied at the good top-notch university, get out, got a job, stable job, good job. But for 4 years, she also working in a big manufacturing, a big lab where she and her teams learn a lot about the new technology, the nanotechnologies and all of that, and making better batteries for the armies. Beautiful project. But her world stays within that lab. Big lab. 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day, sometimes 12 hours a day, 14 hours a day, depending on the experiments that they've been running, so they cannot turn off the machine. So she and the team have to wait until the experiment is finished for them to turn off the machine and see the result before they can leave, right? And I asked her, we have a beautiful world out there to explore, to learn, to grow, to enjoy. Are we going to do this kind of job for the next 40 years? Are you going to do that for the next 40 years? And my wife said, yes, why not? I say, well, our job is to be a leader who leading the change, be example of change, be the change advocate, right? And we need to be that example for our children so that they can see changes, face with changes, and adapt to changes and thrive from there. All right? Back then I had a very good job also myself. So I worked for a company called Chesterfield Services, and I grew the ladder into the management positions very, very quickly. So for 4.5 years there, we grew the business 5 times, before I came. So we decided to leave America. We decided to leave everything behind and pick a country where we grew up, try to see how we're going to make our name in that country. So both of us, again, had no idea how the country is. We have no idea how we're gonna find a job back there. But go back and explore something new. And that has led us to a beautiful journey of learning from uncertainties, of picking one another up when we need it, of supporting and encouraging one another to continue learning and growing, making new connections, learning something new, learning a new industry, learning and growing every day. All right? So that was again the path that we walked into the unknown and exploring it. And my wife then worked for a company that globally is very well known called Bayer. She loved the job, absolutely, she loved it. Inside of her, I could see that she really wants to become a commercial person. But she always put the barrier beside her that she's a technical person. So she liked to wear the hat as a technical person, despite inside of her head, she always wanted to become a commercial one. And she could become a very good one also. So day in, day out, for 4.5 years working for Bayer, I encouraged her, move to the sales role, move to the commercial role, try to do something different. Eventually she took the advice, becomes a commercial person, and it took her life to a different direction. Completely different directions, okay? Mine as well. So exploring the human resource industry, never worked a day in my life because that's the industry I loved doing. Meeting great people every day, learning something beautiful every day, joining different client services to see how we could help their business get better through our services. Amazing journey, met so many amazing projects and people around the world. Then COVID hits. Okay, it's another chance for us to get into the unknown, and COVID-19 was the unknown to everyone. All right, so despite all of that challenges, every single day we have to deal with how we're gonna, keep our health in check, right? How we're gonna keep our staff health in check. How are we gonna help our clients in crisis like this to get their business continue running? But we could do more. We could do more. We could use stories to help people to dream bigger, think bigger, to get a lot more of their lives. So we decided again to get into the unknown. All right. So my wife and I, we always like to listen to good conversations, TED Talks, podcasts, television where they do a lot of documentaries and a lot of interviews, something that we can learn and grow, right? And we always wanted to be that role, be the person who connected to those amazing people, be the person who interviewed those amazing people. But we never do that. We didn't know those experts. We didn't know how to ask good questions too. We didn't know how to prepare for a podcast and how to run in the operations, how to do the video editings and all of that. So we decided to go to the unknown. When we went to the unknown, the rest is for us to explore and find out how to do things, right? So took the courage and we went to the unknown and start very small with the people that we knew in Vietnam and outside of Vietnam. So our bosses, our clients, our friends who had the big names in the country. Then from there, we started to explore the people in different countries. So we had a list of amazing experts in each field. Then we started to invite them to connect, invited them to share their stories, invited them to join our interview, invited them for a cup of coffee each and every chance that we get into their country. And we met so many amazing people. So walking into the unknown is very important. It gave us a lot of beautiful memories, beautiful experiments. Okay? One day, my wife and I woke up and we decided we're gonna travel. We're not gonna know where we would going. So we let go with the flow. And then we knew that on the east side of Vietnam is where beautiful seas lies, okay? And then if we head to where the sun rises, then we knew that is where beautiful things gonna expecting, and for us to come. So we kept driving, and we went to a beautiful fishing village. Beautiful fishing village we never knew in our lives. Met amazing fishermen and women. We interviewed them on how in that kind of life, and they were so happy. They were so supporting one another. They're so lovable. And the lessons that they share with us is beautiful. So walking into the unknown gave us a lot of good things, a lot of good experiences. The question now is, how could we get into the unknown? Because in the known area, that's where it's safe the most. In the known area, in the known industry, in the known jobs, right? We know exactly what to do, what to expect, and the risk, the rewards, the people, the knowledge, everything. We have that experience. It's easy for us to leverage from what we know. So now, push all of that away and doing something that totally different. How can you do that? All right. So a simple tips for you, or several tips for you. First is to ask yourself, what's the worst thing that would happen if you do that? What's the worst thing? If you want to start your business, because you've been doing the industry for so long and now you want to try your own business, trying to use your own expertise, try to build your own brand names out there, try to run the business from A to Z to have the full experience. How are you going to do it? And what's the worst thing that could happen? If it's failed, then you can always come back to the known one, right? But what if it succeeds? You're gonna have a beautiful experiment, okay? If you wanted to write a book, and we did, we wrote 5 books together, my wife and I. And all we asked was, okay, if we want to go into the unknown in here, was, what's the worst thing that could happen if we want to write a book? The worst thing that could happen is we couldn't write that book. We never finish it. Or if we finish that book, nobody gonna watch it, nobody gonna read it, nobody gonna know about it. Okay? But then when you wrote down that question, you wrote down the possibility answers for that, then you have no fear at all. You have no fear of doing that, except the courage to do it even more. All right? So the first question is to ask, what's the worst thing that could happen? But the second question is even more important. Assuming that we will be successful in doing the things that we want to do, we were successful to get into the unknown and make it a succeed. Make it a success, right? So what would we do to make it happen? Who do we need to talk to that can support us, that can mentor us, coach us, be with us in that journey? And how we're going to accomplish it, how we're going to measure success. So when you imagine success, when you imagine the end results, see the end in mind, like the 7 Habits, right? Stephen Covey. Have the end in mind. And you envision the way to get there. You build your own GPS system to get there. You build your own engine, own car to get there. You have your own tools to get there. And along the way, you find the supports. Along the way, you find the people that can be with you. So the first question was about the worst thing that could happen and write it down, right? The second was about how are we going to make it happen? Okay? So when you see the end result, your brain will do the rest of the job to make sure that it will give you the power, give you the tools that you need, give you the ideas that you will need to leverage, or the ideas that you miss thinking, and help you to make your dream comes true. All right? So in the comfort zone, everything is good, everything is excellent. But when you can break the comfort zone, when you get to the unknown, the beautiful thing is you can see a different version of yourself. You can experiment something that you would never experience it if you continue doing something that you already knowing how to do is best. And when I talk to a lot of clients, a lot of people, I always say this: explore something new. Explore something new. I explore writing, traveling, meeting new people, learning from every people that I had a chance to talk to at all ages. Okay? And each of those learning experiments gave me a little more that I can add on to my life. More and better knowledge that I can add and replace the old ones that are no longer relevant. New and better relationship that I can put onto my life experiments. All right, and you can do the same too. You could do the same, and you should do that same too. Replace the old ones so that you can have more space for the new one. Change the old knowledge by something new, an updated version. Learn some new skills that can help you to evolve in the ever-changing world like this. Otherwise, we will be left out in the race of technology and human, right? And out of the comfort zone is where you're going to be extremely happy, because you are doing the things that not many people are doing. And I wish that this video gives you the courage, gives you the desire for you to get out of your comfort zone, do something different, do something different again and again and again. Because that is where you're going to find your own self, where you're going to find the true person inside of you that has the burning desire waiting for you to make it happen. If you like playing guitar, playing it. If you like to write your own book, write it. If you like to travel to some place you never knew, do it. If you like to talk to an expert, have the courage to connect with them and tell them that you love their works and you want to connect and learn from them. You will be amazed by how ready they are and how willing they are to support you, to help you. All right? And once you get to that level, look to your back, see who's in need of that same kind of support that you can give to them. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please subscribe and share this video to other people. And I see you one day in Vietnam. That would be wonderful. Bye bye.